Welcome, Heavies, to the second episode of Heavy's World. And today we are going to cover some heavy wrestling. So, with me today, I've got one of my Real Rasslin comrades, you could say, the belt guy, Paul. G'day, Paul.
Hello. Greetings. Good afternoon from the other side of the pond.
From the motherland.
From the motherland itself.
And if you haven't noticed by looking in the background here, there's kind of a bit of a theme for today, and that is we are going to go over our top 5 belts. And we're not just going top 5 overall belts, we're kind of going with a bit of a theme in that we are going to pick from tag, women's, specialty, mid-card, and like world title level titles. So, because I am the ever gracious Australian host, I'm going to let Paul go first with his number 5.
Cool. Very nice. Glad to be on that Heavy's World. It's we're all behind you with our art, as you know.
Before we go any further, I want to take it over to a word from our sponsors, the Real Rasslin crew. Represent.
Before we get into that, I want to ask you one thing. Why aren't you subscribed? Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and hit that noti bell as well to keep up to date with all of Real Rasslin's new video releases. Also, don't forget to check out store.realrasslin.net where you can get your very own Wrestle Club t-shirt, as well as mystery boxes, figures, and signed memorabilia. So what are you waiting for? Go check it out. I mean, obviously, after you've watched this video and liked and subscribed, because we are on the way to 1K, people. Help us get there. We appreciate all the support. Thank you very much.
So I'm going to start off with the specialty title. And this was a bit of a toss-up. I had 2 in mind, but I decided to go with the version 2 TNA X Division Championship. I've always been a big fan of the X Division concept, but the belt itself is an absolute beauty. I mean, when you saw the first one, it was like the really god-awful sans serif X, and it just looked terrible.
And just NWA, TNA.
Yeah.
But
when they brought in the TNA title the first time, and that version 2 one, it looks like it should.
Yeah, it looked really...
I really enjoyed the look of it.
Yeah, they kind of started at the bottom, then they gave us that one, and it's an awesome looking belt. One that I really gained appreciation over the years, especially when they changed it. And it went to that it looked like a cross between the next belt and like 98 version of the IC title. It just looked wrong.
Yeah.
The current one looks good. Yeah,
the current one's all right, but it's a far cry from what the original, well, not the original, but I suppose it would be the original TNA, not NWA TNA. Like that first one solely under the TNA banner, it looked really cool. And
yeah,
I was obviously at the time I was a big TNA fan. They looked like they were going to be something of a threat to WWE. Obviously, that didn't pan out, but it looked good, and I really enjoyed seeing it on Jay Lethal, who at the time I believe was the X Division champion.
Yeah,
at some point was the X Division champion, and he held that particular belt.
I just won it from Angle.
I think he did, didn't he? Yeah.
When Angle won all the titles, he won it off.
Yeah. Did he cash in his Feast or Fired or something like that? I can't remember.
I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know that he won it off Angle. It wasn't a Bound for Glory. It was like before that.
Yeah.
Because you think he defended that and the tag titles with Sting, which led to Bound for Glory for the world title. But I know what you mean. It was like at the time, it was that was them moving from, okay, we're big enough to sort of get away from the NWA side of things. It was a good start point. And the titles they came out with, they were all brilliant.
Yeah.
In their design. WWE had the spinner, the big gold. I don't call it the big gold because it wasn't as big as the big gold.
Yeah.
World heavyweight.
Slightly less big gold.
Yeah, like the medium to large gold. But yeah, definitely a good choice, my man. Good choice. Well, then that kind of brings me to my fifth pick, which is the exact same title. Which is why I laughed, because I couldn't believe you went off for it first. I was like, oh, far out. So we don't really have to say much more, except it was a
We
great
pretty much
title.
covered it. It was a lovely looking belt, and it got canned way faster than it should have, in my opinion.
Yeah. The X Division concept was just, it was a brilliant
Ahead of its
concept.
time. Yeah,
It really was. It was kind of like, to me, at the time, it felt like their version of like the pure division.
Yeah,
Ring of
it
Honor.
was their own little thing.
Yeah, it was
worked.
there. They said, okay, we need something different to kind of, grabs the attention of the
Separate it from the
fans.
pack a little bit.
It was
that's
like
what it did,
it was the cruiserweight division without weight limit, which is essentially what it was.
It wasn't, as they used to say, it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits.
Yeah. And when they had the NWA version, it was held by guys like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe is probably the biggest name.
Daniels.
Yep.
Jerry
Lynn.
Yeah.
Low key, I think.
I think Abyss even held it at one point.
Yeah, like they had some great guys hold that title. And that when you do look at the second one that we're talking about, you kind of get more of a vibe of your Jay Lethals and just like it felt like it kind of legitimized what they were doing and everything, which was great. So now that 5's out of the way, let's go with 4.
Okay. I'm gonna go with tag team championship on this one. And this was a difficult one for me. There are two that, if we're going purely based on design, it came down to two, and it's difficult. Even now, I'm looking at them, which one am I going to go with? But I'm going to go with the Progress World Tag Team Championship.
Yeah.
Now, that might be a controversial pick to some, but what I really liked about that title was the fact that when it was first introduced, it wasn't even a belt.
Okay.
It was a shield. And the shield was split into two pieces, so that when the champions put them together, they had a full shield.
Yeah.
They used that for a couple of years until I think it was British Strong Style ended up winning the titles, and they introduced actual belts. So whilst they don't have the shield anymore, because it is now a championship belt, the main plate, or plates I should say, of the Progress Tag Team Championship is that shield.
Yeah, I was going to say it. Even you can see that's what it was, the yin and yang.
Yeah, essentially.
And it's a belt that it's not over flashy, or it's not a complicated design. It's very simple and to the point. And that whole yin yang for the middle plate that was the shield, that just it kind of tells you everything you need to know about tag team.
And it was unique, I mean, the thing about tag team championships is obviously that, for the most part, they all look the same. And that's the way it should be, because that's how it is, apart from maybe the first NXT titles where it was a reverse, which in itself was a cool concept and nearly got picked. But it's the fact that the belt represents two people anyway. So having two of them just makes it much better, because they've got that yin and yang effect going. Yeah,
definitely. But no, really good pick. I reckon I'm going to go for my 4 pick for the women's title. Okay. And this one was a little bit hard for me to pick, because for a long time we had WWE and those belts look exactly the same, except for the color of the backing and the metal plate and that, which I get it. I'm not going to go into it, but I'm going to go with the latest AEW Women's Championship. The latest one. It's it loses a little bit because it's the All Atlantic title is very similar in design, but this came first. And to me, you know, the AEW Women's title kind of had a shaky start, I suppose you could say, looks wise. It looked very small. Like you had it on neither.
Yeah, obviously they made a bigger version of it because it looked so small.
They did, and that looked good. That looked really good. And then this would have been a perfect belt to have put on Nyla Rose.
Yeah,
you know, like, but it is a great design. The only reason it's not higher is because it's still new, and the All Atlantic is very similar. But yeah, to me, you know, after having WWE as the leader in the industry, and a lot of their titles do look like toys.
Yeah,
because they're marketing to kids and whatever else. This was like a women's belt that looked freaking awesome, and not just like something that you could market to sell in Kmart, Walmart, or Big W, whatever.
It carried the prestige well.
Yeah, it was, because the men's belt's big, so why can't the women have a big one?
Yeah,
it kind of puts the AEW title is a nice title, but it was nice to see a company take a women's title and it not being just a smaller version of what their men's title was. It's its own identity.
Give it its own identity. Yeah,
very different. And yeah, I just like the design. When I first saw it, I was like, I think I may have mentioned it in our chats on WhatsApp. It really was a great looking belt. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, it
was a definite improvement over the original.
Yeah, definitely. Now, without further ado, we go to number 3.
Number 3. Well, I'm going to go to the women's title now.
Okay.
And again, it was a toss-up between two. Because I went with the Progress Tag Team Championship for the women's, just to give it a bit of balance, I'm going to go with the NXT UK Women's Championship.
Ooh.
Now, nice. I don't think NXT UK got the credit and recognition it truly deserved.
No, didn't.
You know, the fact that they've closed it down, they say it was the plan all along, I'm not convinced. That said, NXT Europe might be interesting. So
could very well be. Yeah.
But it's kind of a little bit against what you just said, because obviously all the WWE titles kind of look the same. But in this instance, with the NXT UK titles, it worked because, I mean, anyone who knows will know that the UK title was a beautiful looking belt. I mean,
in that design that they've got, WWE's got that Pentagon type diamond shaped 3 plates. Definitely the NXT UK titles, men and women, really are leagues above the WWE main roster versions.
Without a doubt.
They are a beautiful belt. They are both beautiful belts. And I love the fact that they could have just put big NXT in like a British or a UK flag behind it. But they took the coat of arms in their own style. And
it kind of done. It's similar to obviously what you've got next to you, your open weight title. There's a very big similarity between the two.
Definitely, in that it's not just a logo with a plain background or anything. It's
and you look at the people that held that belt. You know, it was Rhea Ripley, then it was Tony Storm.
Yeah.
And then Tony Storm, well, I think, lost it to Kaylee Ray.
Yeah, I
Kaylee
think
Ray
so.
lost it to Meike Satomura. I mean, Satomura, if a title's held by Satomura, you know it's doing well. Obviously, my other pick for the women's would have been the Progress Women's title. Satomura's held that one as well. And
Yeah,
so it's Tony
definitely.
Storm. So, you know, it goes without saying. For me, NXT UK Women's Championship is the best looking championship in the women's division anywhere.
Yeah, I would have to. I can't fault you because it really. And another thing, like this is not so much about the belt and the look of the belt. When you go back and look at the history, it's had like 1, 2, 3, 4 until it got unified. It didn't have a lot. This is one thing I really liked about what I saw with NXT UK is that it made their titles seem
Champion
that much
had a
more.
run. It wasn't it wasn't a couple of months. It was
Look
a
at Pete
decent
Dunne and
or
his
Volta
run.
after that. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Gunter, whatever you want to call him.
he's always Walter to me. But
Yeah.
you know, and WWE seem to have gotten that in recent years with Roman.
Yeah.
What they're doing with him. AEW have kind of done it from the start until recently when their plans went haywire. You know, I'm sure if none of that stuff happened, Punk would probably still be champ. And would
Well, let's not go into that.
But we're not going into that.
We'll
But
be here another hour.
definitely. So my number 3 is tag titles. And this one was hard. Like I went back and looked at WWE, WCW, ECW, TNA, ROH. I even looked at the trios titles because technically they're still a tag title.
Yeah, I still tag, yeah.
And whatnot. But I'm going to go with, and I'm going with it because it kind of, as you said before, a lot of tag titles seem to look the same, but it doesn't. And I've gone with Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And they're the belts that would have been around the time that like Tyler Black had the world title and whatnot.
So the ones that FTR are holding now?
No, the ones after.
Oh, the ones after. Yeah, I know
after. They got the wing, they got the eagle with the points, and they got the flags. And to me, it looks like a cross between the 80s and 90s WWE, WWF tag team titles and the United States WCW title. Because it's very similar in shape up the top. And again, it's not over glorified. It's quite simple. There's plenty of silver backing, and you've got everything that's there is in its place, and it doesn't take away from everything else.
Yeah.
And it's just the little features about it, like it's got 2 pillars each side.
Yeah.
That they to me that represents half of the tag team, 2 halves of the whole, and whatnot. And it's got its little bit of not pompous, but regality to it. But you can see
prestige,
a bit of prestige, but a little bit different because they had that eagle design even on their world title that had very sharp edges to the wings and stuff like that. So it was traditional without being traditional, but being a little bit modern at the same time.
Yeah. Good choice. Yeah, really good choice.
It's not when I looked at them all, it was really, really hard, and I nearly went with another one, but I just kept looking at this one, and I'm like, no, it's this one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I mean, my other pick for tag team would have been the NXT UK tags because they were amazing to look at.
Yeah, again, like that whole, they didn't look like the tags from main roster or anything like that with their own spin. They were really, really good looking titles as well. You even had one, didn't you?
I did not the NXT UK's.
I thought, you were looking at one, I think.
I was looking at it and it never happened.
Yeah, oh well. One day.
One day.
All right, with that, we're on to our number 2.
Okay, so number 2, and this is one that I do have. So it is a complete case of bias. And if it wasn't for what I picked for my number one, it would be number one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going with mid card,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going with the 2014 network logo WWE Intercontinental Championship with the white strap. Now
Yeah.
you won't like it because
Yeah.
of who reintroduced it, but I love that belt. Okay, I hunted that belt down for ages until I bought it off a little known person you might know as Simon, who is obviously our colleague.
Really?
Yeah, the Intercontinental title belt I have was bought off of Simon. I am the one that started his business as WrestleBox before it became Real Rasslin.
Wow.
So there you go. But I just love everything about it. There's nothing on that belt I don't like. I love the way that the plates pop off of the white background. I love the white strap. I love the design. It's so simple yet elegant, and it just, for me, it just has prestige. It looks prestigious. It is a belt when I carry it around, I like, okay, people will want to carry this.
Yeah.
For me, it's a beautiful belt. And obviously it has the history of the Intercontinental Championship behind it, which is obviously one of the most important titles in wrestling history.
Well, yeah, definitely. If I was going to go IC, I'd probably go the like Attitude Era.
The
I
oval
see.
era, the
Yeah.
oval one. Yeah.
And
I had that as well, but this one beats it.
Well, I'm not, I'm not a big fan of colored belts or white straps on belts. But recently I'm starting to see a trend. And you are right. The white makes the plates pop because there's not, the plates aren't, there's not a lot of intricate design. There's some star clusters.
Yeah.
Usual sort of stuff you'd see on a title belt. But no, I will agree. As I mature, I'm starting to like not so much colored, but white.
In the right context and with the right color, it can work.
Definitely. My number two is mid card. And when I went into this, I had one, and that was it. That's what I was going to pick. But I thought, no, do some research, see what's out there. And this is a belt that I've seen in the past, and I have liked it, and I've gained more appreciation for it as gone on. But I'm going to go with the NWA version of the United States heavyweight title, the one that's got the red and the blues. It's got the two round side plates.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's good. It's just a very. It screams old school, and I don't know what it is about it. Originally it was going to be WCW United States Heavyweight Title. Was absolutely love that belt, and I always have. But this one, it just like you with the IC title, it just pops.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you mean. It's the one with like the large front plate and then the circle plates, isn't it?
Yeah. There's enough color on it that it's not too distracting, but it grabs your attention.
It grabs your attention, exactly.
And whatnot. And really, it's just, I don't know why it's overtaken my love for the WCW one, but
sometimes these things happen. I mean, I never thought I'd buy the MLW openweight title, but here we are. It's right behind me. So
yeah, but
sometimes
no, definitely a great belt. So this is it. You're going to go straight to number one, or do you have an honorable mention?
No, I've got an honorable mention. Let's throw that in there.
Let's go to honorable mention.
As honorable mentions go, this one's probably the craziest. So you might have heard of a promotion called Dramatic Dream Team, or DDT Pro.
Yep.
They have quite possibly the most hilarious yet amazing championship ever created.
Yeah.
The Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship.
I've heard of it.
The Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship has been held by many people, such as Kenny Omega, Candice LeRae, Asuka's held it. Multiple people. There's been loads of champions, but there's also been some very odd champions, such as a blow-up doll, a bowl of rice, an 8-year-old child, an entire audience, the belt itself. The belt itself is the 1000th champion. Okay, how can you look? How can you look past that and not say that is a belt worthy of recognition?
That is some wacky out there stuff. Like, I see why it's an honorable mention. I'm
I mean,
looking at it.
there was a period of time where two people exchanged it between themselves about 500 times. I mean, it's up there. It's iconic.
This is like, yeah,
It's
this
like
is
the
like,
24/7 title turned up a notch.
yeah, it's like bongo, stir crazy, totally out of left field, wacky wrestling represent.
Yeah.
You know, like it's a nice looking belt still, but the lineage is just,
The lineage is crazy.
it's one of those things you'd read on paper, but go, nah, I've got to go and have a look.
Yeah,
You know, I've got to hunt the net.
genuinely do. Anyone who's watching this right now, go and look it up. It's crazy.
Definitely by the set. Yeah, I'm definitely going to look it up myself too, because I have heard of it. I've heard about the Blood Doll. I've heard about the Kid. I've heard about Omega. The fact that the belt is its 1000th champion is brilliant. Like, that alone makes me want to hunt up some footage to see how the hell that
I mean,
happened.
there's even a steel ladder that has retained the title.
It's just, that's amazing. I can't get over that. Like, yeah. My honorable mention's not crazy like that. It's for sure. My honorable mention, and it 6 months ago, or a year ago, it probably would have been my number one. And that's the Attitude Era WWE title.
Yep.
Big round. You know, the likes of Austin and Triple
Big
H and
Eagle,
Rock, and that Big Eagle one. That for years was my favorite belt. Probably because, like, I watched wrestling as a kid. Over here it was a bit harder to get a hold of when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
You had to stay up really late to watch Superstars. It was like a catch-up show. But when I started, like, religiously watching wrestling, it was from WrestleMania 17 onwards. WrestleMania 17 was I remember going to one of my best mates' house. He said, "Do you want to come watch the wrestling with us?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I haven't watched that, for a while." Like, yeah, so why not?
Yeah.
The event itself is brilliant from start to finish. Everything's in its place and whatnot, but that's the belt. That was the belt. And it's one of those weird belts that in certain lights, it looks like there's more silver. And in other lights, it looks like there's more gold.
Yeah.
To me, it was just brilliant. Just like Rob. I know how much Rob likes it.
Oh, it's Rob's favorite, no doubt about that.
Yeah. And it's just, yeah, it was very close to being my number one. And that's so with that, we'll go to our number one.
Okay, so obviously number one had to be the World Championship. And again, you know me, have my entire collection is mostly about World Championships.
Yep.
I mean, obviously I could have gone with the Real Rasslin World Championship right there as my number one pick, but that would have been far too biased.
Yeah.
That said, I have picked my favorite, and I feel like it might be the same as yours. And it is the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, the one they had before the one they have now.
Version 4.
4, yeah.
That is, yeah.
It is beautiful. It looks the part. It honors all the previous champions by having their names on it. It has everything that a championship needs to look like something that you want to win. You hold that belt, you know you've earned the title of world champion.
Definitely. And it's one of those belts, it's a big belt because it's the world championship.
Yeah, it's the world championship. Of course it's gonna be big.
It's not too big that it's overpowering.
Exactly.
It looks prestigious. It looks, I
love the fact that the junior heavyweight championship was very similar to it in design.
Just a smaller silver version.
Just a smaller silver version, yeah.
Like, I agree. It's a brilliant belt. And it's probably more brilliant in considering what we got now.
Yeah.
But I think the one
Can't
thing
afford it, but-
I've liked about the IWGP title is that when it evolves from one to the next to the next, you can kind of see it even now, even though I hate that title.
It has elements of previous titles.
Yeah. See, the version 4 is, out of all the IWGPs, it's my favorite. But I still have appreciation, love for version 3, the one that Angle held, the one that Brock Lesnar held. It was like this. It was to me, it was kind of like their version of the WWE Championship circa 2002 to 2004. The one that Eddie Guerrero held, Brock Lesnar, and all them.
Yeah.
It was that title that wasn't just big and round. It was more oval and a bit rectangular in shape. But definitely awesome pick. Like, yeah, I can see why you picked it. And a lot of people probably miss that title right about now.
Yeah.
So again, my number 1 is world title as well. I nearly picked this, but just like you, it's a little bit biased.
A little bit
but
biased.
That is a beautiful belt, just like yours is. And I really do feel like we kind of got to give Luckman a bit of a plug, because it took a while to get, and it was an up and down journey to get it. But
Royal belts on Facebook, people, they do good work.
That is a bloody beautiful belt. So anybody's watching and you're in the market for a belt, get on Facebook and look up Royal Belts, because you won't regret it and whatnot. So, but again, that would be biased. But I think it's going to be quite obvious what my number 1 is. And that's the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, the big gold.
Big gold.
That belt. The fact that I've got, it's brown belt, not black belt, but it's kind of like you with the IWGP. It's prestigious, it's regal, it's it's intricate, and there's so much going on, but it doesn't detract either. It's the simple 3-plate design. It's the just everything about it. And look at the people that have held it.
Yeah.
NWA days all the way through to the close of WCW and just after. Kind of got hot potatoed a little bit.
Yeah.
The invasion and whatnot. And yeah, it kind of morphed into the WWE World Heavyweight title, but that, I swear to God, it's smaller. A lot of people disagree with me. It is smaller.
It is smaller.
Big gold on Goldberg, like up to here.
Tiny. Yeah.
It was huge, and
the WCW version.
The
then when he held the WWE
version,
it didn't look anywhere near as big. But yeah.
And I know even towards, around 98, 97, 98, 99, it kind of got shoved around a bit. There wasn't long, lengthy title reigns for it. But, you got the likes of Bret Hart. You got the likes of Ric Flair, Hogan, Savage, DDP. The biggest
and the best held it.
Yeah, and whatnot. And apart from when it got hot potatoed a bit, when it went to someone new, despite them being a face or a heel, it felt big. Like DDP won it as a heel, I think, first time. And I cheered. So all right. So that's it so far for top 5 wrestling belts here at Heavy Rasslin. So before I go, I just want to say thank you to you all, as usual. And thank you to my gracious guest, Paul. And yeah, make sure you tune in next time, people.
Before we go.
Okay.
There is another order of business between yourself and I, Hev. And it's time to get serious.
Yeah.
About a month or so ago, something was taken from me, something that meant an awful lot to me, something that I have put my entire time, body, and effort into establishing. And it's sitting right there on top of your title belt. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, or for anyone that, for whatever reason, hasn't watched any of the Real Rasslin Predictions League, the Crown Challenge, whatever, I'm the longest reigning king. Okay, I am until Hev, I was the only two-time king. I'm the longest reigning king. I've got more defenses than anyone to wear that crown, and now it's sitting on your head after you took it off that scummy little Scotsman. It doesn't sit well with me. Okay. And I thought I'm going to have to bide my time. I thought I was going to really have to build myself back up. But no, October was a good month for me. October put me right at the top of the pile once again. And so for the third time, I'm coming back to take my crown. Now, you've said to me that you're fairly confident unless I pick something you don't know much about. And you're lucky, because if I'd got onto it a bit quicker, we'd be duking it out this weekend, NWA Hard Times 3. But we're not. There's not enough time.
No.
So I've had to look elsewhere. And as I expected, I am going to have to bide my time. You're a good champion, Hev. But as a king, you're not much. And you know it. You know it as well as I know it. I'm the greatest king of Real Rasslin. I'm the greatest king in Real Rasslin history. You've even admitted as such. So we have to determine another battleground. And I've got one. You see, in order to become the king, you need to show that you've got the wherewithal to wear that crown. You need to show that you've got the aptitude to hold it and carry it and push that division further. You need to show that you've got everything that's needed to become the king. And the only way you're going to do that is by showing that you have the ability to progress. And it's interesting that I say progress, because at the end of the month, chapter 146, they think it's all over. Progress Wrestling will once again be our battleground. And that's going to hold really bad memories for you, Hev, because if you remember the last time you were king, did I not take that crown from you at Progress Wrestling?
You did.
I did. You know, in 1966, the famous words from Kenneth Walthingham was, "They think it's all over. It is now," when England won the FIFA World Cup. History's going to repeat itself at chapter 146 when they say they think it's all over. And it is. Hev's reign once again comes crashing to the ground to the real king of Real Rasslin.
That's one way it could go.
It's the
Just
only
one.
way that we go.
As with everything in life, there's more than one way to go. All right. And you're right. I will admit, I don't think I've been shy in admitting that you are, without a doubt, the greatest king that Real Rasslin has had. And you got my respect for that. You always will. And yes, the bruiserweight from Scotland kind of ruined things, because when I wanted to win it from you. But the world deals out cruel twists of fate every now and then, and what happened. But me and you do have unfinished business. We've been in this position twice before, and yeah, you chose Progress last time and you beat me. Congratulations. Only after I just won it too, so I didn't get that great of a reign. Didn't even get any title defenses for it, crown defenses. But the other way this could all go is that this time is different. Yeah, you pick Progress, and I don't blame you. You know, it's your own backyard. You're going to know it better than me, but sometimes it's not just about what you know. Sometimes it comes down to sheer bloody luck. And I'm hoping I've got a lot of that. And while it means while it might look like I don't sound very confident, this is coming from the only person to hold the crown, the title, and the briefcase all at once. So I accept the challenge. I wish you luck. I'm not going to get into a war of words here and puff my chest out and whatnot. We've been here before. We've done this twice. I always wanted a third match because this is Real Rasslin's Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania. And just like the third time there, I think we could very well see an upset. So, as I said, good luck. And I look forward to the actual challenge.
The only person that's going to need luck is you. You don't need luck when you've got knowledge.
We'll find out. With all of that and a crown challenge thrown in, I don't think I've ever seen a crown challenge be made and accepted in the one video before. Like I've obviously seen them edited before, to have one after the other, but this I think is another first. Definitely.
When you and I are involved with that crown, Hev, history is always made.
It is.
And I will make history once again when I become the first 3-time king of Real Rasslin.
As I said, good luck.
You'll need it more than I will.
I know. And with that, we are done here, heavies. So thank you very much. Before we're rudely interrupted. But thank you very much for sitting through this. And Paul is always welcome back. I'll have to dig into my list of heavy topics to see what we could do next time. But thanks again. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you all next time, heavies. Catch ya.
Take care.